Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sir Ace. I will be the one who will be helping you in reviewing English for specific purposes. So I hope everyone is in a comfortable situation. So let's do this. For our first instruction, you may get a piece of paper and a pen so that you may answer our questions. And then next, you will have 10 seconds to answer each question. But for this video, I will not be using a timer, so you can just pause the video and try to answer our questions. Ano? The correct answer will be shown right after each number. So if you are ready, get a piece of paper, condition your mind because we will begin. Again, I will be reading the questions and then I will be stating the correct answer. But I will give you some time so that you can pause the video and monitor and answer the question by yourself. So let's proceed to our first question. For our question number one, it is a type of model illustrated by Hutchinson and Waters to give graphic representation of different approaches in teaching the English language. You may pause this video before I continue. The correct answer is letter B, ELT 3. ELT 3, 1987, Hutchinson and Waters established the most popular worthwhile theory in English language. So ELT tree basically is an illustration of literally a tree on which different types or approaches of English language teaching is depicted. So that is the correct answer. Again, if you are asking for illustration created by Hutchinson and Waters, they are asking for the ELT tree itself. And since it is a tree, it has many different branches. Letter A, semantic tree. This is what we use in syntax. So this is an ordered tree with nose labels. We use this to create a visual representation of how sentences are structured. So the functions of each word in a sentence. So semantic tree is different. ESP tree, actually, technically, it is just called ESP branch. It is a branch in the ELT tree. So ESP tree is actually it's not a tree, it's a branch. So if they're asking for the entire illustration, it should be ELT tree, and they're specifically answer for the branch that talks about English as such specific purposes. It is ESP tree. It is composed of three other branches with its own unique branches. And of course, language tree, this pertains to language families. So we have Dravidian, we have Indo-European, Sino-Tibetan. So yeah, it's not an English language tree. It is a language tree, how different languages stem or language families stem from each other or how they are related to each other. Next, question number two. Which of these is an immediate branch of the English for specific purposes as depicted in the ELT tree? I will give you some time to pause the video. The correct answer is the correct answer is EBE, or English for Business and Economics, because it is a specific tree. English for academic purposes, EOP and English for technicians are other branches. So EBE, or English for Business and Economics, is an immediate branch of ELT. Again, there are three immediate branch of ESP as depicted in the ELT tree. So there is EBE, EST, and ESS. So among our choices, EBE is the correct answer. English for academic purposes, however, is a branch present in all three immediate branches. So EBE, EST, and ESS has EAP as a branch, okay? Next would be English for occupational purposes. Same with EAP. It is a branch it is a branch of EBE, EST, and ESS. So EAP, or English for academic purposes, and EOP, or English for occupational purposes, are branches within the immediate branches of the ESP branch in the ELT tree. So I hope you guys are following me. Next is English for technicians. This is a branch under the EOP branch under the immediate branch of the ESP branch. So ganito, ESP branch, may tatlong branch yon. EBE, EST, ESS. Yung EBE, EST, ESS, may tigda dalawang branch sila. So they have EAP, or English for Academic Purposes, and EOP, or English Occupational Purposes. And the English for occupational purposes branch of English for science and technology, under noon ay may dalawang branch, English for technicians and another branch specific for English for academic purposes naman. Next, all our reasons for the events after the Second World War became a catalyst for the firm establishment of English for specific purposes except for A. Fear of German language, B. English being accepted as lingua franca, unprecedented growth in economy, or D. Rapid globalization. You have some time to pause before I continue. The correct answer is A. Fear of the German language. So after the Second World War and the fall of the Third Reich, countries, mainly members of Allied powers, slowly reestablished peace across the globe. But this isn't actually a contributing factor on why ESP was firmly established as a subject. Ano? So yes, the German language was not entirely stigmatized and it was not a contributing factor for the firm establishment of ESP. However, letter B, English being accepted as lingua franca since the influence of Allied forces, especially US and UK, became more prevalent. Of course, English became a lingua franca, is indeed one of the catalysts for the firm establishment of ESP. Same with unprecedented growth in economy, which needed barter and exchange between countries, which also contributing factor for the spread of ESP. And rapid globalization, sharing of culture and linguistic ideas, especially the influence of UK and US, means we have to use English more. And each countries that UK and US have to create relationships and have influenced many countries, these countries adapted English also. So it also is a contributing factor for the establishment of ESP. Next, all of these are immediate branches of English for specific purposes, except for, I will give you some time to pause. The correct answer is letter C, EAP. As I have mentioned before, in the ESP branch, we have only three main branches, EBE, ESS, and EST. EAP is a branch present, or it is a branch of the immediate branches of ESP. So alongside EOP, it is a branch of EBE, EST, and ESS. So yeah, an EBE is an immediate branch. It talks about business, financial reporting, etc. Same with the EST. This, however, is more concentrated in science, research, vocabulary, engineering, etc. Of course, we have English for social sciences. This is for politics, history. So itong tatlong to, it has two branches. Yung two branches is English for academic purposes and English for occupational purposes. Next, unlike ESP, this type of English language teaching discipline deals with language generally. It concentrates with four skills of language, whether it be speaking, reading, writing, listening equally, with absolutely no preference or any skill over the other. A, Standard American English. B, King's English. That is C, English for occupational purposes. And D, General English. Yeah, I will give you some time to pause. The correct answer is letter D, General English. So General English is a term used to identify type of English that is clearly distinct from ESP. Why? It is less focused on specific professions, but general. Generally, no. So it talks about how you would learn the English language as general discipline, not to a specific field, not to a specific profession, but the language of the English language as a general, no. Standard American English, however, don't be confused. It is a type of English that can be found in US. It uses pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, and references as used in the United States of America. Same with King's English. It is a type of English referred to the type of English that they use in the United Kingdom. So pronunciation, accent, grammar, references, rules, idioms that is used in the United Kingdom, that is called King's English. English for occupational purposes, however, again, like EAP, is a specific branch that deals with occupational and career language. Ano po? So it's a specific. So it's not general. Hence, the correct answer is General English. So for our next item, it is a type of English language teaching that focuses on the specific need for the learner to have knowledge about this specific English language in order for them to have adept professional communication skills specific to their field and advance their effectiveness as an employee. So I will give you some time to pause this video. And the correct answer is letter C, English for occupational purposes. So ang ating clue dito is effectiveness as an employee, no? EOP is a specific branch present in all of the three direct branches of ESP. This branch exists alongside EAP. The focus of this branch is help learners develop the specific English for practical or working reasons. So always remember when we are talking about their effectiveness as an employee, we are talking and specific it talks about English for occupational purposes, which are present in all of the three immediate branches of ESP. The other distractor being English for business and economics. You might be confused, but this is an immediate branch. It talks about business, entrepreneurship, finance, etc., etc. As we have discussed, but it also has its own EAP and EOP. It has its own English for occupational purposes and it has its own English for academic purposes. So wag malilito ha when we are talking about effectiveness as an employee, regardless sa anumang field, EBE, EST, or ESS, we are talking about English for occupational purposes. English for Science and Technology, again, is an immediate branch. It talks about research, scientific vocabulary, etc., etc. It also has its own EAP and EOP. ESS or Social Science, it talks about politics, finance, philosophy, etc. Not finance, politics, philosophy, religion, sociology, archaeology, etc., etc. Again, it has its own EAP and EOP. So for our next item, which among these statements about ESP is incorrect? A, ESP is more approach-oriented rather than product-oriented. B, ESP is not time-bound. C, ESP is discipline-specific. Or D, ESP is focused on learners' needs. It wastes no time. I will give you some time to pause the video. The correct answer is letter B, ESP is not time-bound. Again, which among the statements are incorrect? ESP is not time-bound. Why? Because ESP is time-bound. It is goal-oriented. Since ESP is a discipline that enables learners to learn about a specific type of English that is used in a specific discipline or on their respective field, they have to learn it as soon as possible or within an exact time frame kasi para magamit nila in the discipline on which they are going to practice. The other distractor, ESPH, is more approach oriented rather than product oriented, is correct actually. It is a correct statement. No, it does not concentrate on learners providing grammatically accurate parts or product with complex use of figures of speech or etc. etc. But rather how effective they use the language in the field that they belong to. So it is about approach, how they use the language, how we deliver it to them, how we teach it to them, for example, considering in the field where they are working. So it's approach oriented. So the next distractor is ESP is discipline specific. Of course, it is discipline specific. So depending on what profession or strand or discipline or field you're entering, so doon naka-base yung type of English or vocabulary that you will be using. Last distractor, ESP is focused on the learner's need. It wastes no time. It's actually, so it's a correct statement. So hindi siya yung tamang sagot kasi we're looking for the incorrect statement. Ano? So yes, ESP aims to help learners learn about the specific language they need to learn as soon as possible. It wastes no time, so it's direct. So yeah, let's proceed to the next item. So question number 8, it refers to the method of teaching the English language that deals with giving the learners knowledge of the language in order to build their schema with the purpose of gaining fluency for either academic or personal purposes. It encompasses linguistic nuances, cultural references, and figures of speech due to the limited exposure of the learners to the English language. So A, ESL, English Second Language; B, EFL, English as Foreign Language; C, ESS, English for Social Science; or D, English for Specific Purposes. I will give you some time to pause. The correct answer is B, English as Foreign Language. So remember, when we are talking about limited exposure, it is EFL. Ano? For learners of limited exposure, that is why they have to analyze the nuances because they are new to the structure of the English language. So the correct answer is English as a foreign language. Usually taken for academic, professional, or personal purposes. Basta tandaan nyo, when we are talking about learners with limited exposure to the English language, are unfamiliar with the structure of English language or with the references and idioms, it is EFL. So ESL naman, or English as a second language, this is for people who have been exposed to the English language. Is more focused on learners with already deeper immersion with language and culture. Focus ito sa fluency and correct grammatization. So remember, EFL for limited exposure, ESL naman for those who have already been exposed. And of course, again, English for social sciences, iba naman ito. Ano? So you might be confused since there is a mention of culture and nuances. So you have to read the item carefully. ESS is different. Ano? It is a immediate branch of ESP. It is a category of its own. So yeah, it's not the correct answer. And of course, ESP, while it is discipline specific, the question is asking about learners with limited exposure. So tandaan, pag limited exposure sa English language, EFL. And for our next item, this refers to specialized language of professional or occupational group. This language often helps experts communicate with clarity and precision. Is it A, slang, B, vernacular, C, vocabulary, or D, jargon? I will give you some time to pause the video. And the correct answer is? The correct answer is letter D, jargon. So let us explain each items, no, each choices. Jargon, particular type of language used by those specific in profession, specific profession or activity. So mga nagkakaintindihan lang ng mga jargons is yung mga gumagamit nito in a specific field. While slang naman, it's similar to jargon but it's not specific to a specific field. So it is ginagamit in social groups, specific social groups. But this is more informal than jargon. And kadalasan itong makikita sa pamayanan in the community. You can usually see this and everyone almost could understand its meaning, especially those who belong in the same society. Unlike jargon, which is more formal and focused, limited within the field. Ano? Vernacular, on the other hand, refers to the everyday language spoken by particular group or region. So it has a geographic consideration. Ano? So yeah, this would encompass dialects or other languages native to a certain region or by specific group of people in a society. Slang belongs to the category of vernacular. So don't be confused, okay? Vocabulary naman is literally just the collection of words in a language or that a person knows. Is the word stock of a language or an individual. It encompasses words someone knows, understands, and uses. So yun. So let's proceed to our last question. It is a method of learning and or teaching English language that deals with scholarly or academic aspect, particular profession, focusing on academia, research, scientific progression of a specific field. A, English for academic purposes. B, English for science and technology. C, English for social sciences. Or D, English language teaching. I will give you some time to pause. The correct answer is letter A, English for academic purposes. Again, so focusing on academia, research, scientific progression of a specific field, while scientific progression is mentioned, academia and research was also mentioned, so you have to focus on the question clearly. And while kanina it was mentioned about career and advancement of employee, when we are talking about academia and research and scientific progression of a specific field, so about studying, it is English for academic purposes. Ano? EST naman, while it might be confusing because there is mention of science, EST still has its own EOP and EAP pa din. While it still talks about science, meron pa rin siyang occupational purposes na type of English. So we are strictly looking for a type of English that only focuses on academia, research. So ganun. So it's EAP pa rin. So mali ang EST. Same with ESS. meron pa rin siyang sariling EOP and EAP, so it's not the correct answer. And same with ELT naman is the general term on which all methods of English language teaching are connected. So that would be all. I hope you learned something from our very quick review regarding English for specific language. Again, read the question carefully. Is it looking for an immediate branch? Is it looking for a specific branch, etc., or a general branch? Because some terms can be very confusing. So again, my name is Sir Ace. Thank you for listening.